Hey, welcome back. Have you ever felt totally stuck on a problem, just going around and around in circles? Well, what if there was a better way to think, a more human way to innovate? Today, we're going to dive into something called design thinking. It's this really powerful framework that's totally changing how we solve problems, everywhere from the biggest companies to our own daily lives. So, let's get into it.
First things first, let's look at what makes this so different. You've got your traditional way of thinking, right? It's very linear, very step by step. It starts with a problem, and honestly, it's usually filled with a bunch of assumptions we don't even realize we have. But design thinking, it completely flips that script. It starts with people. It's human first. It's not a straight line at all. It's more of a loop, an iterative cycle. And its secret weapon, empathy. That little shift from problem first to human first is an absolute game changer.
So what is it exactly? Well, at its heart, design thinking is a human-centered approach to innovation. And it's not just about making things look pretty. It's about finding that perfect, delicate balance between three key ingredients: what people actually need, what's possible with technology, and what a business needs to be successful. Now, to find that balance, you need to look at challenges through a whole new set of eyes. Or, in this case, through three specific lenses. Think of these as different pairs of glasses that help us see the full picture of any problem we're trying to tackle. The first lens, and you could argue the most important, is desirability. This is the human lens. It forces us to ask, what do people really want? Not what we think they want, but what they deeply, fundamentally need. It's all about empathy. It's about actually stepping into their shoes and trying to see the world from their perspective. Okay, next up is feasibility. This is our technical lens, our reality check. I mean, we could have the most incredible, desirable idea in the world, but can we actually build it? This lens makes us look at what's functionally possible with the technology and the resources we have right now, or at least in the very near future. It keeps our big ideas grounded in reality. And finally, we've got viability, which is the business lens. Look, a solution can be something people want and something we can build, but if it's not financially sustainable, it's just not going to last. This lens asks the tough questions. Can this thing support itself? Is there a business model here that actually makes sense and ensures this innovation can stick around for the long haul? So here's the goal: real, game-changing innovation. It doesn't just live in one of these circles. It happens right there in the middle, where all three overlap. When you find an idea that is desirable, feasible, and viable, you've hit the sweet spot for innovation. That's where the magic really happens.
All right, so we get the principles, these three lenses. But how do we actually use them? How do we put this all into practice? Let's talk about the framework that brings it all together. So this framework gives us a roadmap. It all kicks off with empathize. That's our desirability lens in action. From there, you define the real problem you've uncovered, you ideate a bunch of solutions, you build a quick prototype, and then you test it with actual users. Think about how Airbnb started. They didn't go build a massive complex website. They just empathized with travelers who wanted real local experiences, and they prototyped the idea with their own apartment. But here's the key. This is not a straight line, it's a cycle. You might test a prototype, learn something totally new, and realize you need to jump right back to the empathize stage. It's all about learning and refining as you go.
Now, this all sounds pretty great in theory, right? But what's the actual payoff? Why are so many of the world's most innovative companies using this exact way of thinking? Let's break down the real world's benefits. Well, for starters, when you put human beings at the absolute center of your process, you naturally create innovation that solves real problems for them. Plus, by building quick prototypes and testing your ideas early and often, you massively reduce the risk of launching something that nobody wants. And the end result of all this? You create products and services that people actually genuinely love to use.
So you might be thinking, okay, this is cool, but is this just for tech startups in Silicon Valley? Where is this approach really being applied out there in the world? The answer is pretty much everywhere. Seriously. Design thinking is being used to totally reinvent the patient experience in hospitals, to redesign how we shop in retail stores, to create social services that are way more effective, and yeah, of course, to build the technology we use every single day. It's become this incredible toolkit for any industry that's facing complex human challenges. And here's what I think is the most powerful part. This isn't just for big companies. The coolest thing about design thinking is that anyone, and I mean anyone, can learn to use it. This is about unlocking your own potential to innovate.
Because really, at the end of the day, learning to think like a designer is a skill that you can build. By practicing empathy, by not being afraid to experiment, and by always keeping that human-centered mindset, you can directly improve your own ability to come up with new ideas and just be more effective, no matter what your job is.
So I'll leave you with this question to chew on. If you were to put on these new lenses, desirability, feasibility, and viability, what's an everyday problem, maybe at work or even in your own life, that you could start solving today?